All right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another educational video from Sales Management Solutions. So today, my teammate Ron Bagley is joining me from New Hampshire, up in the New England region of the Northeast USA. I'm down here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where SMS is headquartered. And today, we are catching you guys up on the importance of IAQ and what it means to the residential consumer. So I'm going to let Ron run the show here today. So Ron, welcome to the mic. I'll let you take over. This is not your first time running a training video. So why don't you catch up the audience who's going to be seeing this and what you're going to be hitting on today, and then run point.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott, for the introduction there. So today we're really looking at ultravation. We're looking at how to basically equip your entire HVAC system with our indoor quality products. So what we want to do today is give the contractor something to look at, to where he can present this to the end user, which is the homeowner. So we're going to try to make this as simplistic as possible, so the homeowner understands. We're also going to make this as simplistic as possible for the contractor to understand, so he can actually sell this stuff as well. So without further ado, we're going to get into basically what an HVAC system looks like, so people can have a visual representation of this. So this is what it's going to look like in simplistic terms. We know everything's different as far as some of these systems go. So first, we're going to look at our filter. So this is your first form of indoor air quality treatment. You definitely want a good filter. We don't want to throw in one of those 1-inch filters. We want something that's really going to tackle the problem. So it's going to catch the particles that are in the air. So we represent with ultravation a MERV 13 or MERV 11 filter. That's what we'll recommend that you put inside your system. And we can get into some of the further details as far as some of those go as well. It's going to be your first line of defense. So we want to jump over and show you what our air filters look like here. We have 3 different models that we can show you here. We have our support box model, we have our right angle model, and we have our straight through model. Each of these is going to be dependent on what your HVAC system looks like. Each one of these has different properties that are going to be able to be implemented differently. So depending on what your system looks like, depending on what your room looks like, these are all going to be different. We have our right angles here. We have our straight throughs that are most common. And then we have these support boxes that are pretty unique, pretty cool. It's a lot of people will refer to these as labor savers, and you can actually use these with places that you don't have a lot of room. You can sit the HVAC system right on top of that. That does come insulated. It comes with a MERV 13 or MERV 11 filter. And a couple unique things about these is that you can get these painted to the color of the equipment, and you can also have the contractor's name put on these as well. So that's going to be your first line of defense. Now, second, we're going to show you something that's going to help enhance your filter here. And that's going to be our Orion product. So I'm going to show you this here. This is our Orion product. This is going to be an ionization system that's going to electrically charge the particles in the airstream to allow your filter to work even better. So in layman's terms, this is going to electrically charge that particles. It's going to make those particles clump up even heavier, so they are able to be caught by your filter even better. This is really a neat product as far as that goes. So next, we're going to jump into where we're going to start looking at our UV products. Our UV
real
products.
Quick, Ron, can you flip back to the progressive media literature to the page showing particle size? I think that's great to help us understand how the Orion is connecting on this, especially for a consumer, because a lot of these particles that we're talking about floating in the air, you can't see them. I mean, dust, maybe even dust mites if you're really good at it, if you have really good vision. But honestly, this stuff is very small particles. And you just showed us, obviously, our great filtration solutions, the progressive media. But in that literature, we have one page on there that shows you like the size of the fibers and stuff like that. So this Orion you're currently sharing right now is awesome. But I think it's also helped to connect them back and see, hey, I think it's down on page 5. I think you're right there right now, actually. Yeah, there we go.
Yep,
like that's a
absolutely.
great example, right? Like explaining what you're talking about there. This mold, bacteria, allergens, dust mites. These are all things that are sometimes visible, but obviously I love that little note they had there, right? The human hair is only 100 microns. So there's a lot of these things we're never going to see.
Absolutely. And that's a great point too, because you see these things and you see how small they are, and you could see how no matter how great your filter is, how some of these could slip through your filtration system. So what the Orion does, which Scott was pointing to, is it's going to electrically charge those particles. It's going to blow them up, essentially make it basically makes them a little bit bigger, which allows your filter to catch those. So if we were looking at a foolproof filter where nothing passed through, well, air wouldn't pass through that either. So we
Right.
need something like the Orion to actually blow those allergens, bacteria, mold, dust mites up so it can be caught in your filter even more so. So that's a benefit you get of the Orion, and it keeps those things caught in your filter. So before you even get to a UV light or a PCO product, you're really catching as much as you possibly can in your filtration system. So I always say that's your one of your most essential and your first line of defense against different allergens, bacteria, mold, et cetera. I appreciate you pointing that out, Scott. Now, next we are going to look at the UV products, and we're going to skip ahead to the supply. So I know initially we showed you, and I'll share it again here. We showed you the coils. You definitely want to treat the surface of coils. We know bacteria and mold and things grow on those coils. They're wet, it has condensation on it. It's a breeding ground for that bacteria. So we definitely want to treat those. But what I want to do is I want to jump ahead to the supply and show how we can treat the supply. And then we can actually treat the coils as well off of what we put in into the supply. So give me a second here. I'm gonna jump to our supply product, which is going to be, we have two different options here that we can choose from. We can choose from the Catalyst and we can choose from the Solaris. And I'm going to go through each of those products really quick and show you what the benefits are of both of those products as well. So first, we're going to go ahead and show you the Solaris. This is going to be our most beefed up product. So this is going to have ionization in it. So if you put your Orion in, we know that has ionization, but then we're also getting it in our Solaris as well. So it doubles up on that ionization product. And then we're also going to have UV in here as well, particularly UVC, which is basically anything that UV shines on is going to render it lifeless. It's our most potent form of UV you can possibly put on a system. And then we're also going to have PCO, which stands for photocatalytic oxidation. That, along with the UV, is going to create something that called PCO that will actually break down odors and VOCs, airborne chemicals, et cetera. That's really going to enhance the product to where it eliminates smells and odors. To really, that's really what you're going to get when you put PCO into a product. That dirty sock smell sometimes you get, and different airborne type of smells that you'll get into your house. So we want to treat the airstream with these three products: the ionization, the UV, and the PCO. We want to put that into the supply. So we let our Orion do its duty with the filter. We let our filter do its duty with a MERV 11 or MERV 13 filter. And then after we treat those, we're looking into the supply. That's going to be the last place that your air passes through before it goes into the house. So we want to make sure we have a beefed up product there. We want to make sure we're hitting all those different elements of indoor air quality with that product. Now, the reason I wanted to show this product first, so we know we're going to put this into the supply, but we also still need to treat the surfaces of the coil. And the reason I'm showing this first is because once you put one of these into your supply, you can actually upgrade this with a coil lamp. And if you look at the bottom of this page here, you'll see the UV light upgrade. This is going to be able to be plugged directly into the Solaris product, and then it's going to be able to go over the coils. So you're going to be able to treat your airstream into the supply with the Solaris, and then you're going to be able to put an additional UV light to mount over your coils. We can put one of these through the Solaris, and then we can also upgrade if we needed to put more UV lights over the coils, depending on how big your coils are. We do have extra solutions for them as well. We can definitely get into that depending on how big your coils are, but to keep things simplistic right now, you would put the Solaris in the airstream, and then you would put one of those UV lights over the coils. Most of the time, a coil will be treated with at least one UV light, two sometimes, but I think one can definitely do the job in most cases.
Yeah, I totally agree, Ron. I mean, as you can see, you're just sharing there on this literature, it's 12-inch or 17-inch options. And I think the most popular one I see out there is a 17-inch long lamp. The goal of UV, right, is time and intensity. So if we could fit the biggest bulb in there, that gives us more exposure of UV for that time and intensity goal. So, and I love that kit too you're sharing there, because it's hard to see for some people, but there's actually directional shielding clipped onto the lamp. So it actually ensures even more of that light emanating from the 360-degree exposure of the lamp. That reflective surface will then push all of that down onto the coil once this is installed. So we're getting as much UV as possible off of a single lamp install over top of a coil.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're 100% right there. And what we're trying to do here today is make this as simplistic as possible and give kind of your basics into each situation here as well. So we're doing the airstream, we're doing the coils, we're doing the filter. Now, something else that does come up from time to time is ozone. Some people do not want ozone in their house, and that's typically not because it's not safe, but because they have a sensitivity to it with their smell. It's completely safe to put into your house with the Solaris. It does emit a little bit of ozone, but some people, like I said, do have that sensitivity with the smell, and they just don't like that smell. It's very rare, but it does happen occasionally. So that brings us to our catalyst. Our catalyst is a very beefed up product as well that we'll put into the supply side of things. But instead of using titanium dioxide as far as the PCO goes, we're actually using a carbon module. And what that carbon module does, it actually absorbs any ozone that would be emitted. So if you do have a sensitivity to ozone, I would definitely recommend the catalyst. It does have the UVC light on it, and it does have the PCO. The only thing that it is currently lacking is the ionization. But like we were talking about before, we have that with the Orion. And although the Solaris does beef it up even more, putting the ionization on its product, you already have it before your filter. So you don't always need to double up on it with a product into your supply. So really, I would say anybody that has a sensitivity with ozone, go with the catalyst. If you do not have a sensitivity with ozone, go with the Solaris, because you'll get the PCO, UV, and additional ionization with that product. And just like we were saying with the Solaris there, you can plug an additional 6P UVC lamp into this product as well to go over your coils. So you get a full system upgrade with your indoor air quality with the Orion, the filtration, and then your catalyst, Solaris, and your UV light coming off of one of those. So we want to make sure we're covered on all of our bases here. So that's going to be one of your most advanced setups for your system for a residential unit. Scott, did you want to jump in with anything that you think we missed or think you could add to our residential system here?
No, I think you hit on it. I mean, actually page 4 on this specific literature, you already hint at it, right? Hey, go ahead and throw a coil lamp on. That's one of the biggest things I love. As a consumer, I have this stuff in my house. So I love the fact that things are scalable. And if my contractor can install it even easier and only have to wire up one product, that means his labor charges are going to be less too. So it's like, great, you've already installed the UV catalyst or the Solaris in the air supply duct. He just has to run a wire down coming off of this power head to plug in that coil lamp accessory for the coil. And then we've taken care of basically 2 pieces of this 4-step process you've explained. You went with the filtration, then if you want to put the Orion on, right, to improve the filtration, and then you have the supply and then the coil lamp. So with basically a single install, the catalyst or the Solaris, you've just made it really easy for an install. So that's what I love about it. So, and again, it's optional for the ionization. I think it's great to add it in to improve filtration, and there's other IAQ benefits, but just the fact that, if you're not using our 5-inch MERV 11, MERV 13 filter, it's even more important to consider something like the Orion technology, because it's going to improve anybody's filter, no matter what level or tier filter they have installed. So, but as we know, IAQ standards, especially here in 2021, as we're recording this and moving forward, MERV 13 is really the go-to IAQ classification for the best possible indoor air quality you can get out of a filter.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. I know I always say get your MERV 11, MERV 13 filter. Don't go with the 1-inch filters. But even if you do, like Scott was saying, though, Orion does enhance even those 1-inch filters that might not be a MERV 11 or MERV 13 as well. And just to let everybody know too, the Orion, you don't need to replace the Orion. It does need to be cleaned every once in a while. It does not emit any ozone. And then all the bulbs that we are talking about today for the UVC, a lot of people ask, how often do you need to replace those? They do have a 2-year lamp life on each one of the bulbs we were speaking with about today. So every year you should be getting your HVAC system looked at anyway, and then every 2 years you would replace the bulbs on these as well. Now, something else I did want to bring up, we know not everybody has a conventional HVAC system like we just showed. So we do have a couple other options for your residential application that in the area that you do not have a typical HVAC system like this. We do have some other stuff that you can put to actually help with your indoor air quality. And one of those would be our M series. Our M series would go on any mini split. It does have a universal fit. It does come with 2 7-inch UVC bulbs, and it does wire right into that mini split there as well. You can mount these over the blower wheel or the coils, depending on your preference as well. But great for mini splits. These can be mounted on basically any head for a mini split that is out there. And one other thing I wanted to show as well is this is kind of a pretty cool, unique product. If you live in an apartment, or if you want to just add some extra indoor air quality to a room in your house or home office, or even just a regular office, these do go up to 500 square feet. And this is our portable unit. This is super simple. It plugs right into any wall outlet that's out there, and you can set this on your desk right in front of you. And this does have a UVC bulb in it, and it does have a PCO with carbon on it as well. It does not emit any ozone, and it will improve the smells and odors and different things inside the area that you put it in. Like I said, it does up to 500 square feet. That suffices for a lot of apartments. And say you have an apartment that's a little bit bigger than that, then you can double up on these. You can put one in the far end away from where you put the original one. These are also good for dorm rooms, gyms, places like that as well. So we try to get you covered on any type of application you do have. We know not everybody has the same system set up in their houses / apartments, but I think we're safe to say that we basically have something for any type of system or area that you have.
Yeah, I like this product. I'm glad you added it in for the end of our training process here, is because this is definitely a go-to. I mean, this plugs into so many different situations. It's not even funny. I've literally used it in a car already while I was parked in the garage to make the car smell nicer. So this thing it can be done for anything. And again, the size is what I love. I mean, the set of car keys there in the image, it's not a big unit. It is stainless steel. It looks nice. There's even a washable air filter in there. So filtration plus UV plus no ozone byproduct PCO, like you said. That's a great product to stick into any situation. So.
No, very cool. It's a very simplistic idea as far as installation goes, as far as where you can put it. You put it in your car. I mean, you can put it anywhere, and it adds that extra IAQ into your situation. So definitely a great product. And I think that's pretty much all we have for our audience today. So we went over our full outline for a typical residential HVAC system. And then we also gave some added benefit if you have a mini split, or if you just needed some extra indoor air quality in a place that doesn't have filtration or different airflow to it. You could put our UV 6000 portable air purifier in there as well.
Well, thank you, Ron. Well, yeah, so that concludes the residential solutions for IAQ. This was a great entry to mid-level type of quick training, just to help people wrap their heads around how to improve the home systems. So again, for people watching this, we have a lot more content on our YouTube at Sales Management Solutions YouTube channel. But again, all of these products, you can just go to ultravation.com. That is the factory's website. There's a lot going on there. So we're happy to guide you with our own literature, PDFs, etc. Just email us at info@ smsteam.co, and we'll get you what you need as well. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for another Ultravation and or other product line training coming next on our YouTube channel over at Sales Management Solutions. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.